Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to this week's Inquisition. It's going to be Johnny is chatting. It's no Johnny is painting. Johnny is chatting. So we'll get him on. Casey's going to be a wee bit late. He's having child issues. That's what happens when you have rumpy pumpy people. Actions have consequences. And Casey's consequence was having a 6-year-old that doesn't want to do anything. Or do as he's told because the mummy's away. So Casey will be late. But we've got Johnny is painting this week. Be good chat. Guy that's been away from the hobby has just come back after 19 years. So we get to see how his hobby journey has progressed from when he started to when he left it and then when he picked it back up. As always, folks, give out a massive shout to the one, the only Orange Brushes, colour tip coordinated for your pleasure, because your pleasure is their leisure. If you throw an Inquisition at the checkout, you get 10% off, and alright there, and give the guys at Hobby Halo and Dave and the Grey Fox himself, 41st Millennium Dave, a cheeky wee follow. They've just released a new bit of kit for making your hobby life a bit easier, and now that I've paid off my holiday, I will be grabbing a cheeky wee Hobby Halo for myself, because it was an absolute nightmare doing fucking Mortarion in bits and pieces, and I've had to glue it, had to magnetise his head, which I think is quite cool. So yeah, give the boys at Halo Hobby, Dave and the other guy, Dyson Pigments. I actually called him the wrong name last week as well. I was given First Rank Fire. Another podcast, Jeff, I'm a good follow as well. Right, Dad Hammer, how you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. But aye, it's been an eventful week. I'm doing a wee tournament at the end of the... Yeah, you can also use Dave 10 for 10% off, but you won't get the free delivery like you do with Inquisition if you're in the UK. That's only the Inquisition to do that. And it might also send you a wee Silver Fox through as well. But yeah, I fucking signed up for a tournament, so I've got to try and get on my Death Guard, and I've decided I'm going to take a Rhino with me. So yeah, I need to get a Rhino. I've got 7/8 of it glued, and yes, why 7/8? Well, that's because I only got 7/8 of it, so I'm hopefully picking up the other bit tomorrow when I'm up at Bad Boy Buncrana with the Donegal Dice Winners. Give them a follow as well. Doing a wee bit of cheeky gameplay with them, another cheeky wee 2,000 point game, and I'll be running Virulent Victorium. So yeah, that's it for me. So I've got a Mortarion to finish. I need to find the rest of these bits. Hopefully the puppy hasn't chewed it. I need to get my Rhino primed and painted, and a few other bits and pieces up and running as well for the end of the month. And then hopefully, yeah, I should be cashing the checks and breaking necks. Alright, Johnny, I see you've just requested it, so was giving him a hard time. He's turned up. He's actually turned up. How are you, Dick? How you doing, pal? Hope you're well, mate. And there he is there, the man of the hour, Johnny is chatting.
Hey mate, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad, man. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're all good, mate.
Sweet. So Casey's going to be a wee bit late because...
That's just the usual way of doing things though, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a 6-year-old that doesn't really want to play the game tonight, apparently. So it's just going to be me for the first 10 minutes, so you have to put up with my Scottishness, and then hopefully Casey will join us then as well. So we might as well just jump straight in, because we've got only 90 minutes, 100 minutes, and 41st Millennium Dave's got a bedtime, and he's obviously got children as well. So the first question, first of all, thanks for joining us tonight. Absolutely stoked that you could join us. First question to ask everybody, though, is just to start off nice. It's actually 3 questions in one. What age were you when you first got into Warhammer? Who got you into it? And what was the first thing that you painted?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having us. You've had loads of great people who've done it. So I was, when you messaged me, I was like, oh, that's just dead nice. So when I was racking my brain, to be honest, and it's one of those things that I don't think I remember that well, but I'm pretty sure, because I always used to walk past the Games Workshop in Newcastle when I was a kid, and it was the big red Games Workshop, of the early 2000s, and I think I must have I must have been maybe like 10 or 11 potentially. Because it was, yeah, I think I must have been about 10 or 11 because I think I did it for about 4 or 5 years. Because I think I remember kind of putting it aside for the first time when I was maybe like 15. So yeah, I think I was around 11. I I don't remember who might have brought me into it. I used to play Warhammer Fantasy Battle when yeah with my one of our friends from school called Josh, who I don't know him anymore. But I think either I must have come to it by myself or he may have mentioned it potentially. So yeah, so I don't know if it was just me coming to it because I liked something in the shop window or if it was him. And the first thing that I painted, which is really weird because it has no relation to anything that I've ever painted since, was I remember going into a shop in town, and it was do you remember when Games Workshop when the Warhammer boxes had like artwork on the front in the 2000s? Like it was actual like professional artwork, not the pictures of the minis. And I remember seeing a box of Dark Elves. I don't know if they were called Warriors or Dread Spears because obviously they've changed names throughout the years. But it was a box of Dark Elves, and I painted up a Dark Elf spearman. And I found it a couple of years ago, and I've lost it since. I've got no idea where it is, but yeah, it was a dark elf, and I have no interest in dark elves or Eldar or anything like that. And I've got no idea why I chose that to paint, but that, as far as I can remember, is my first model I ever painted. Which is, it's weird, but yeah, I wish it had been something more profound, which had like
Not,
sparked a lifetime of collecting and stuff. But yeah, it was a random dark elf for Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
I mean, here it's your first model. Do you know what I mean? It's like anything. You always remember your firsts on a lot of things.
Yeah.
First time you get a kick in, first pint, first hangover. Do you know what I mean? I think first mini is always a because like mine's would be. I mention it. Hero Quest. So mine's would have been like my mum gave me all my Hero Quest stuff there a few years ago. I think mine's is like a mummy from Hero Quest in the
Yeah.
cardboard box. And I remember when I had first had Hero Quest. I don't know if you remember Hero Quest.
It was a bit like I know of it, but see, I remember I'm definitely kind of like I think it's like mid Hammer. Like I came to it in the early 2000s because I think I remember getting White Dwarfs and stuff. So it's not quite old Hammer, but it's not quite when it kind of became more of a corporate thing. But I've seen Hero Quest.
So in Hero Quest, I wanted to differentiate all my arts from all the other arts, but I didn't realise that Warhammer and MB games had already done that by putting a notch in one of the swords. So I
Yeah.
snapped the sword off because I thought that would stand out. And then one of my mates thought, why did you do that? So what was the reason that you left Plastic Track at 15? Is that when you first get put onto Newcastle Brown Ale when you're in Newcastle?
Yeah, it was kind of not far off. I think remembering it back then, I think we forget how mainstream and accepted like nerd culture is now, which is brilliant because it's one of the reasons why I've found my way back to this hobby, which I'll get into. But I think yeah, I must have been like 14, 15, maybe going on 16, and like I was kind of fortunate because I was never like bullied in school. I was never like a mega cool kid, but I was never like the bottom of the pecking order. But I think around 15, 16, like it's when you start going to parties and you start discovering girls and alcohol and like other stuff. And I just remember at the time being absolutely terrified that somebody was going to find out, and that would be it for me socially, which like I've thought about this a lot since I've came back to it, and it makes me so sad because like the shame of being afraid of enjoying what you enjoy and not doing something. Like power to people who just embrace what they love and do it. I didn't have that. I didn't have the minerals when I was back as a teenager. So yeah, so it's one of those things where you never I never remember the last time I picked up a paintbrush, but at some point they were put in a box and then they were put in the loft, and it was always something that I looked back fondly of, and it was like, oh, that was good fun. I used to love doing that because I was obsessed. Like I used to cut out the boxes that they came in. I used to cut off the artwork and I used to stick it on the wall. So I had like half a wall on my bedroom of just artwork, I have got probably over 100 white dwarfs in the loft somewhere. Actually, no, I brought them down, so they're in my parents' house. But yeah, I think I was like 15 or 16, and it was just like social life, social ostracism. You know, you make your decision, which I regret, but also it's been really fun coming back to it over the past 3 years. So
Yeah, we find that a lot of people do kind of, you probably left a wee bit earlier than some folk that, like, usually when they get to uni, and obviously when they start finding girls and alcohol, and then they come back to it. And I think that's, but yeah, right. Like, if I remember, it was only the posh kids in my school that had it because they had the money. Like, I was a Warhammer and sorry, I was a Hero Quest Space Crusade. In Battle Masters, there's one for your bingo cards people. I've said it. Sort of kid, which was like cheaper, like kind of jumping in points. But yeah, I remember like the Warhammer kids would always be in the school library, and they would always be like kind of mocked. It was like there was a kind of social peer. Like football people were always like the top dogs, and then it was kind of like Warhammer and the chess people were kind of lower tier. And it's just so silly now when you think back to it. It's like, why? It's just that fear because you don't know anybody else. But I think with the advent of the internet, everybody, it's like such an open world now that
yeah.
everybody, that nerd, as you say, that nerd culture. So what was it that brought you back full circle then?
I mean, probably like a couple of things. I mean, I think even through like my adolescence and into my early 20s, like I would always keep tabs on it. Like every now and again, I would go on the Warhammer, like the Games Workshop website, and see what was for sale. You know, what could you buy? You know, I'd have a look in the window when you walk past the shop. I think there's a few things. When because I'm a really keen video games. When Warhammer Total War was announced, I was like, oh, I remember that. And I think because there'd never been a game like that where you could kind of effectively live out the tabletop in a virtual world, I was like, oh, that's sick. Because I loved the Total War franchise anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, that could be really cool. And then I remember playing that, and I was like, oh my god, this is sick, you know. And then more came out, and I think the moment where it was like, this was brilliant was when I think Warhammer 2 came out, and they released Skaven for that. Because I think the first one was it was your classic Warhammer fantasy. It was, you know, Empire, dwarves, orcs, chaos, high elves, dark elves, you know, that kind of stuff. But my favorite army when I was a kid was Skaven, and I remember when Skaven came out, I was like, oh, they better do this because they're very idiosyncratic, and they nailed it in my opinion. So that was definitely. So I think they released the first one in like 2016. So that was when I was 26, which is 10 years ago now, nearly. So that was definitely
a baby. You're just a baby.
I've got a good skincare regime. But yeah, so I was playing that, and I was playing Warhammer 1, 2, and then obviously 3's come out. And then the pandemic happened. And I should say as well, I was the kid at school who used to go on like Wikipedia and just go on it endlessly and just like learn stuff. And I did the same with like the Lexiconum and the Warhammer Wiki, you know? And just like finding a random page, like reading about, oh, what's this horror heresy thing they're talking about, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of keep my brain working on it. But pandemic, to be honest. And if there is one person who I can put it down to, it's Arbitorian, which I think many people will be aware of. But one of his videos popped up as like recommended, and it was like, I think one of his first videos was like the history of squats, and I was like, oh, that could be quite fun. So I just clicked in it and watched it, and it just really resonated with me because I don't like clickbait, and like, you know, if other people do, that's totally fine. But the big kind of the bigger kind of YouTube and TikTok accounts. Oh yeah, there you're right, mate.
Hello. I heard squats.
Squats.
What a lovely time to be alive that was.
You're right, mate.
Yeah, good. Apologies for being late. My son was in the middle of a challenge of spelling out as many different words as he can from the name of his primary school, and he insisted on trying to drag it out as long as he could. But in the time that he got to 110, I hit nearly 300. And I'm not saying he's fit, but work quicker, work smarter as well. It's like, put the S on the end of lots of other words to make more words. No, I don't want to do that. It's fucking easy.
You look
Yeah.
as though you're channeling your inner Steve Jobs there, Casey, with the black jumper on.
Didn't even think about that today. I had so many meetings in work, and I've looked like this all day, and I must look like a knob. Cheers, Dunk.
What's the next Apple product that's coming out then, Mr. Jobs?
It's the I Go Fuck Yourself. There you go. So sorry, I've disrupted proceedings there. Squats.
It's going to be the I Marnius Calgar. It's going to be on shelves now.
It's the only thing we're missing with him.
No, we were just talking about how I kind of got back into it. So I started when I was about 11, left when I was 15, 16, and then in the pandemic, the thing which kind of made it all start to click was Arbiter Ian's videos.
Yeah.
And I think the first one he did was about squats, and I remember watching it, and I was just saying, I don't love kind of like the meme accounts or the ones that are like very much like, you won't believe what this character did. It just like, if people like that, that's totally fine, but it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I was watching Ian, and it was just like, oh, this like, because he's I think he's in his 40s, I'm in my 30s, so he's the generation removed from me. But like, I think we come from the same space of like enjoying the hobby of at a certain time in a certain place. And yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I was watching his videos for like 2 years or so, and
hoping not non-stop in that 2 years. You did have a break, right?
I did have a break. I had to stop for a drink, but it was just kind of, that was like definitely my little kind of drip into it. And then through that, I discovered lutein, which I think all of us have discovered lutein at some point in their life, and you're like, Jesus Christ. Like 2 hours on the intricacies of the Hive sewerage network. Yeah, I'll watch that. So what I watched Luton, and it was, and it just kind of started a little slow burn. I was like, oh, okay, is this something that I want to do again? And like, not to get too psychology, but I think, as I said at the start, I think I stopped because I was just ashamed of liking something and it not being cool, and worrying what my peers at school were going to think, and that was definitely a contributing factor to leaving. And I think at the time, I think I was like 32, 33, and I was like, I don't have to give a shit anymore what anyone thinks. As a society, we're far more accepting now. But I just had that revelation moment of like, who cares? Like, enjoy what you enjoy. Like, everyone has things that they are really, really passionate about. And like, mine could be Warhammer. So yeah, I went to, and like, at the time I'd met my current girlfriend, and like, I got up the courage to tell her that I liked Warhammer, and she was like, "Oh, that's cool. Like, send me a video sometime." And I was like, oh, "Really? Really? Like, are you being serious?" So yeah, so I think I sent Arbiter Ian's one about, like, it was like the history of 40k in 20 minutes. So I was like, there you go. Like, if you still love me, tell me tomorrow. And here we are, nearly 5 years later. And yeah, we both went to Warhammer Fest because I live in Manchester. We went to Warhammer Fest in 2023.
Oh yeah.
And it was the first time I'd been to a Warhammer event since Games Day 2004.
Oh wow.
And I've still got my ticket for that, and I've still got my Golden Demon entry that I very naively put on a table, thinking that I was going to win. And it was just like, oh, this is brilliant. Like, thousands of people there. We can go into how well Warhammer Fest was. I think it was really good fun, but I understand some people weren't too chuffed with it. Yep. But we did that, and I bought a few models, and I bought the at the time before the Krieg got a refresh. I bought tank.
Someone in the chat asked what I was doing.
I bought the Krieg Veteran Guardsman when it was the Veteran Guardsman Kill Team. When like the Octarius kind of stuff was being launched. I bought that, and then that stuff just lived under my bed, and I was like, I'm going to paint that stuff one day. And then in 2023, my girlfriend got me a like painting case, and she bought me the paint starter set and some brushes.
Oh, nice.
And she was like, go and do what you love. And I was like, I will do that. So yeah, so that was August 2023. And I've been doing it every week since, basically. And it's been the best thing ever. Like, absolutely the best decision I've ever made, to be honest.
See that?
Sorry, you don't.
Yeah, no, that is lovely to hear, because it is, like you say, it's when we all get to a certain age, and I think, like you said, there is a certain nerdy shame attached to something like this when you're younger, and everyone in school's like, "Oh, you nerd, what are you doing that for?" And then, like you say, you just get to a point in life where you're like, "I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Sod it. What are you going to do? You're going to take the mickey out of me? Fine."
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of people that I know now know that I do it, and I've never, none of them has gone, "Oh, you weirdo," because we are friends, and like friends are not dicks to each other, But yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where I wish I'd realised that sooner, and I could have had. Well, that being said, I got out a really good time. I got out before they killed the old world in the end times, and apparently I've missed Warhammer 40k 7th edition through 9th edition, which I understand were just terrible. So I think I've come back at quite a good time because they've got 10th edition, which everyone seems to be okay with. They brought back the old world, which everyone seems to be okay with. So like, I missed the barren years of 40k. But I didn't buy any stocks. I could have been a millionaire by now.
Yeah, that is the thing. I remember, this is the weirdest thing I always remember about being 16 in a business studies lesson, because I did business studies at GCSE and I failed it, no surprise. Well, in the textbook, there was this thing about up and coming British businesses, and Games Workshop was in there.
Yeah.
And when I'm 16, I'm looking at it thinking, oh, come on, I do that. That's not going to be that big. And then you look 20 years, 30 years later on, you're like, Jesus, wait, I should have done something.
It's like that one bloke who bought Nvidia stock, Yeah. that one nerd in computer class who was like, "You heard of this thing called Bitcoin?"
Yeah, because we all know people who, like, I know a guy who used to be in my friend group. He turned out to be a bit of a knob, but like he's always trying to like do these kind of quick rich schemes, and like Bitcoin definitely sounded like that. But yeah, but it's like, there must have been somebody in Warhammer going, "Look, we've got these people, they're 10, 11, 12 years old, they're going to leave." Remember, we were like, when we were 15, we went and found women and drink and drugs and men and sheep. But once they settle down and they go through those times, they'll come back, guarantee you.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a pandemic, and somebody's like, "You are talking shite, Peachy." And then before you know it, boom, Duncan Ross, like, the fact that we all like tune into like the likes of Luton and Duncan Rose and Peachy and everybody else, and like that's like our fandom, because like they've worked for Games Workshop and they've done like deep dives in the law as well. It's just mad how that
grow up with these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is interesting. Like, you always think that you're like, at least I did. You always think you're the one person who likes it and nobody else does. But weirdly enough, like two of my girlfriend's friends that she used to work with, both of their boyfriends do Warhammer. And when I got introduced to them individually, it was like, "Oh, Johnny loves painting Warhammer." So it's like, "Oh, I paint Warhammer." It's like, "Do you paint Warhammer?" And then the next one does the same thing, and he lives in Nottingham. So we visited one day, and we were like, "Do you want to go? Do you want to go to the place?" And we made the pilgrimage, which was bloody fantastic.
Well, at least if the girlfriends split up, the men have made bonds for life.
We'll just be friends forever,
That's it. Or you can all collectively just dump the girlfriends now. You all know each other. That's it. You don't need anyone else.
When we were in Nottingham, we did do that. We went to it was just a very much like an understanding. Like, the boys are going to go here. We'll see you in about 2 or 3 hours. Like, love you lots. And
one of the girls is like that. They actually mean 7 or 8 hours, and they'll come back with so much stuff, and they'll be apologising, and we'll not see them for weeks, and it's stuff they don't even need, and it will still be there in a box in about 2 years.
You spent that what? That's the next one.
I mean, speaking that was just before I came on. I had a buzz at the door, and I was like, "Oh, look what's arrived! Little Master of the Maelstrom box."
Ooh, nice.
So I was like, "Yes, I've got a problem. I need to stop buying stuff."
We all have that problem. I found that I got a 3D printer off of someday, and I was trying to print stuff for ages. Now I just went to buy a 3D printer because I've got all these STL files that I want to print off.
Yeah.
Stuff I'm never going to paint or play with.
Yeah.
It is an addiction.
Yes.
But yeah. So does your missus, does she dabble in Warhammer at all? Because it's something that we do ask, like, because at what point do you break the news? Like, I've got something to tell you, and it's like, "Oh, what is it?" Like,
Dark secret. Yeah.
your serial killer, like, your secret wife or something like that. No, I collect Warhammer. Like, does your missus, does she get involved in it?
I mean, she's always been like the most supportive person about getting back into it, because I think I just kind of explained like this is why I liked it and this is why I think it's cool, and like, you know, it's the kind of thing where like if you want to let me talk about it, then that's cool, but I'm not going to be like you must like what I like. But yeah, I mean, she doesn't do it as a hobby, but we've done it together. Like we went to Warhammer Fest. We there was one every for the past 5 years, like every night we've done Wednesday date night, and there was one Wednesday date night was like, should we paint some minis? So we had some little Tyranids, because I was like, those are fairly easy to do. And we just put some newspaper down on the dining room table and we did some painting, which was like, that was great fun. I actually played my first ever game of Warhammer in 20 years. We played a bit of Kill Team last year. Just like a game, because I was just like, do I actually like, because I've not played in so long, and I was like, do I actually enjoy that aspect of it? Because I used to be all about gaming and I didn't really care that much about painting when I was a kid. And now it's almost been flipped where I paint and model a lot, but I haven't really played, which is going to change soon actually. But yeah, so we played a bit of Kill Team, and yeah, she's always just like, she's not an active hobbyist, but she's the most supportive person when it comes to it. Though like I do have the moments where the doorbell will go and she's like, "What's that?" And I was like, it's nothing, just a little, like, just some paint. And it's just like, Johnny, that's a 3 foot box. That's not paint.
It's a lot of
But
paint.
no. So yeah, she's not an active hobbyist, but she's a supportive hobbying partner.
Now, you did say that it's usually Wednesday date night. I hope that you got a permission slip in to come on and chat to us tonight, because I hate for me and Dunk to be a breakup of marital bliss.
No, it was planned in. We're doing something on Sunday, so all the clearance was gained.
Yeah, because you need permission slips, and I think as well, the reason I think women are happy, and partners, because obviously we've had a good few women and doing Warhammer as well, is that
Speak for yourself.
we spend that much money on this nonsense that there's no possible way we could cheat on them, because we don't have any money to take women out or men out and take them to hotels or sneak them about. We simply don't have the money for it.
It's like, what's this secret charge on the credit card? It's the Masters of the Maelstrom set. Oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it. That's fine. But
I think I'm getting to the point now where I'm going, I'm taking a girl out and just to hide the fact that I'm buying more stuff. Fortunately, I work from home, so Geraldine is always away working when I'm at home when the deliveries come. I'm like, no, that's been there for ages. Geraldine, you're going mental. You're older than me. You're going mental.
Where's all this money gone? Oh, I've actually got a crack habit.
It's easier to blame drugs sometimes. It really is.
We were on holiday last year, and I was like to just strolling my flicking this week one night, and I was like just strolling through. I wonder if there's any, like, I was in Mallorca, and I thought, I wonder if there's like a hobby shop or anywhere in there that I can just have a wee peruse. There was a Games Workshop in Mallorca, so I was like, hey, I need to plan a trip to Mallorca, but how do I do it? My wife was like, what do you fancy doing? Is that, do you know what we could do? We could go into Mallorca, just like go into Palma, the main town, just to see what's there. And she's like, did you find a Warhammer shop? I'm like, I don't know. If there's one there, she went, you checked it? I was like, yeah, I did. So we went to the Warhammer shop, and I got Fabius Bio there, and that shop had been there for like 25 years. There was a shop in Mallorca before there was a shop in bloody Derry. Madness.
I mean,
we were looking at a trip to Japan at some point, and I've already, like, the Tokyo shop is meant to be pretty good, and there's like so many good modeling shops in the neighborhood. So I'm like, oh well, can we just like stop by just quickly? And it's fine. It's all on the cards. It's all planned in.
Yeah, because modeling in general out in Japan is like a whole next level thing because of Tamia, because of all the anime stuff. They go big for it, and like I know even like other hobbies like model trains and stuff like that, they go absolutely balmy. They love a hobby out there. Yeah. It's crazy what you can find.
Everyone, I feel like I'm the one who's like, I haven't drunk the Kool-Aid, but so many people seem to be really into Gundam at the minute.
You know, and
it's just not like, it looks like, it's one of those weird things. It looks so cool, but I've just got no interest in doing it myself. But I do like the tools because I've seen some like razor sharp like panel scrapers, and it's just like, oh,
Mm.
that'd be good for mold lines and like obviously panel liner and all that kind of stuff. And Tamiya, like I love Tamiya products, but yeah, I've never drank the Gundam Kool-Aid.
I
Whereas
did when
some,
I did when I was about 16. I bought a set and I looked at it and it absolutely terrified me. And it lived in the box for nearly 20 years until I sold it for £100 because it was like a really old, rare one.
there
And
you
I
go.
was buzzing, but then at the same time, I was like, great, now I can invest in more Warhammer. Let's sell more. Let's sell one load of plastic to buy more.
Well, that's how it works. That's the economy. Like I
Yeah.
sold a bunch of like models that I bought a while ago, and it's just because I'm not. They're just gonna sit there. It was like a bunch of like I get my biggest thing is I get very excited when there's new releases, and I need to like start getting better at it. But like I remember when like what was it when 40k launched? Like I got the Leviathan box set, which was good because I had all the Marines in that I wanted. But it was just like it's like shit. Now I've got a load of Tyranids that like
Mm.
do I need? And to be fair, I did actually. I've collected so many different armies over the years. Like I think if I go back to when I first did it, I collected some Skaven. I've got a bunch of old dwarves. I had a big Chaos army. That was one of my biggest one, like Warriors of Chaos. And then I dabbled in a bit of Tomb Kings, but I don't know where they've gone. But I definitely did do them at some point. Then when they relaunched the old world, I was like, I have to get that box. And and you're like, I don't collect Bretonians and I don't collect Tomb Kings anymore. Why have I bought that? So like I eventually got rid of that. And I'm trying to be more selective. Like I've got this Maelstrom one because like I've wanted to have an evil army for 40k for a while. And I used to collect Chaos Space Marines back in the day, but all my stuff that I used to have when I was a kid was in my parents' loft, except the Chaos stuff. I used to have like a bunch of Marines and stuff, and they're just nowhere to be found. And I turned the place upside down, and everything that I had, that's the one thing that I seemingly got rid of, and I don't know why. So I'm going back to my childhood with this one.
That's fair enough.
Not that I need to, not that I've got the time or the space, but you know, I'm still not perfect at preventing myself from buying things.
Yeah, because we're still children, but we've got adult money. That's
Yeah.
really
It's
that's
the
really it.
it's the killer.
It's great. It's absolutely great.
I know. Because
It's,
I don't go out on the lash. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not like mega extravagant. So I just have this disposable income that I can just spend on like tiny miniatures, which is fine, you know. Like it's apart from blue fumes, it's probably healthier than drinking drugs. So it's all right.
nothing wrong with glue fumes, he says as he's opened his Tamiya extra thin again. So
Yeah, and
I'm going to jump in there. Obviously, you've said you've collected loads of different things over the year.
Yeah.
What is your standout favourite range?
So do you mean like setting or like just the army or whatever? Or?
Army, yeah, go Army because then it opens up to everything.
My favorite range. Probably Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum, and not to be a stereotype, but Krieg in particular. Because I think I'm an absolute fiend for like lore and the setting and stuff, and I love to get into the nitty gritty of it. And I've read like over the past year and a half, I've read so many novels now.
Mhm.
But I think the Guard was always just like it's just the grim grind of the setting. You know, like they're not heroes necessarily. They are just so many bodies in this massive unending conflict. And they just looked cool. And I just think I love that vibe of being in a world of superhuman, transhuman, 9-foot primarchs and demons and evil space perverts. Like you're just a bloke with a lasgun, you know. And then Krieg just looked cool. Like I just think the
Yeah,
aesthetic is it just looks awesome because it's kind of obviously it's a combination of French and German and British World War One stuff. I was always a World War One enthusiast when I was a kid, so I think that was just mwah. I think the new models have done a brilliant job of doing it. So yeah, I think God, I think I just love them lore wise. I love the way that they look on the tabletop. There's just so many of them.
I think as well with the Guard as well, like you can have a wee bit more freedom in your colour choices as well. So
Mm.
like I have seen people kind of do like Napoleonic style colours in Guardsman, and there is that wee bit more freedom where you can make up your own like kind of regiment to a certain extent.
Mm.
But if you do a specific Space Marine chapter, people go, well, that's actually the wrong way around for the trim. It's actually white. And it's like, fucking hell, man, catch a grip of yourself. Do you know what I mean?
That's the Horus Heresy scene.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I love the Horus Heresy now as well, so I'm part of that. But I would say coming second is my Crimson Fists. That was for whatever reason because obviously I did Space Marines as a kid. I painted them Crimson Fists, and again I can't remember why, because I think they must have just been in a rule book somewhere. Because obviously it's way past the original Rogue Trader stuff when they were the poster boys. But yeah, I never went for like salamander, because salamanders were really big when I was a teenager because they'd kind of just started to flesh them out a bit more. And yeah, but Crimson Fist is another one that I
I think,
enjoy.
if I remember rightly, Crimson Fists were the front cover of the 3rd edition Codex for Space Marines, and then they just done Ultramarines for a couple of years, and they have swapped it about. But yeah, for the longest time, it was that Rin's World thing was always the standout image of Space Marines, all standing in a circle. One of them's waving an orc head, and they're getting absolutely battered.
When I saw that at Warhammer World, that was really cool because they've made the dioramas like that. Is sick. Ages ago, I saw somebody on Instagram who'd made like a Primaris version of it, and I was like, "That's really sick." But yeah, my forever bit of copium is that like, maybe one day they'll launch like 12th edition with Crimson Fists and bring back a Pedro Cantor model that isn't like that big. But yeah. I mean, the thing is, I can just paint whatever I want blue, so I don't have to have. And I've got enough Imperial Fists upgrades that it works out.
It's all the same.
It's weird how we all are attracted to specific legions, like good and bad, and like different factions. Like, because like I know that they try and push like the blueberries as like, but then everybody just finds their own. They just find something that attracts them. Like for me, I like Alpha Legion.
Yeah.
And I also like Death Guard because like they're clatty. But there's just something about specific legions that people just like automatically
Yeah.
as well, which is cool.
Like I read Legion a couple of months ago, the Dan Abnett one for the Heresy, and I was like, I get the Alpha Legion thing now. And like, it's always funny when like, because I know the meme of like I am Alpharius, but like I was like, that's where the meme's from, you know. The one I really like Death Guard 2. The one complaint I have is I think they're too cartoony in the current the way that they are currently. I think they've got so much potential to be like proper horrifying because they are just these awful big masses of disease and pestilence, and I think they're meant to evoke like absolute horror, and they still can because everyone can paint them. But the way that GW paint them, they almost kind of have this kind of funniness to them, you know, like it's the laughing nurgling and like the smiling faces and stuff, and it's always just been a bit. It's not quite sat right with me.
That's true. But see, the only model that they've released, like kind of big model that they released, I think it's the most recent one that didn't have like a nerdwin attached to it, was the Lord of Proxies. That was proper trimmed up.
Was he the one with the big sword on his back and the?
Yeah,
I love that model. I thought that was such a good model.
That's the only one that doesn't have a nerdwin with them. Like, as a main character, like Typhus has got a couple of nerdwins, like all the Light Lords and Lost Elfies, they've all got like nerdwins. Even Matthias get fucking 3,000 nerdwins. But like the Lord of Proxies just doesn't have one, which was so nice. And I kind of leaning in what you're saying, it is a bit cartoony. But yeah, I mean, that was so good. I think that was like the big thing that a lot of people liked as well, that the Lord of Proxies didn't have that.
Yeah. And like, I think I've seen loads of people do really, really amazing jobs with just the models as is. And equally, I've seen people do incredible jobs scraping off the extra bits and bobs and taking away the nurglings and just kind of having quite a stripped back Death Guard. I was like, that's really cool. But I feel the same about the Admech, and I think I feel like they could be cooler. Like, have you ever read what's it called? Was it Titanicus by Dan Abnett?
Really?
Really, really good. Really, really. Somebody that I know recommended it and was just saying, like, if you like Dan Abnett, read this one because it's just a standalone book about Titans fighting. You don't really get that in 40k literature because it's, you know, 30 stories high. But the way that, because obviously this Titan Legion comes down and they bring Skitari with them and all that kind of stuff, and the way that he describes them is so much cooler than the way that they are now. Because at the minute they're just kind of like robot men with big robes, but he kind of almost describes them as like these kind of almost like mechanized barbarians. Like they're covered in feathers and plumes and spikes and claws and like almost like jewels. And I was like, but in a kind of really like body horror kind of horrifying kind of way. And I was like, that would be really cool. And interestingly, that the new battle pilgrims that they've just released for Heresy. It's the Heresy. That is so much more in keeping with what my brain in my head sees these mechas as these, horrific creatures.
There's a good bit in one of the Siege of Terror books. It's only like, I think it's maybe like a paragraph long, and it's like two Death Guard warriors are attacking the walls or whatever, but they go beyond Mortarian's aura.
Yeah.
One of them has a nerd one on his shoulder, and he thinks this nerd one's dead cute, and it's really cute and nice and all. It's kind of like a puppy.
Yeah.
But when he overextends himself, goes a wee bit further than what he should, and goes out with Mortarian's range, he actually sees the nerd one for what it actually is. And he's horrified, but it's just such a fleeting moment, because then the haze comes back down and he finds it all joyful. So, I mean, those wee bits in the books that you can actually, like, they're really good in the books. You can kind of like, oh, that's quite one of my big takeouts from the Siege of Terror books, is that paragraph is just like how he feels that this nerd one's cute. He's horrified when he sees it. So he sees the true form, and then the haze comes back over.
So it's so interesting because I've been working my way through the Heresy series, and when I was reading Fulgrim, and there's little glimpses and moments of when the Emperor's children, they all kind of have the little moment of like, oh shit, like, what have I done? Obviously, the most tragic bit is Fulgrim when he gets taken over by the demon, and he's just like, what have I done? Like, I've killed my best friend, my brother, and he's damned himself. And all those other different Marines, I think there was one where one of them, who I can't remember the name, but he's on the slab, and he's about to get operated on by Fabius Bile, and he's scared. And I think he has that realization of like, oh shit, I've gone past the point of being able to turn back, and you just have to commit. But because obviously I'm on book. I've read Descent of Angels, I've read Legion. So yeah, so I'm 7 books in of 56 plus another 13 Siege of Terror. So I've got a way to go. But
what I would say to you when you're doing that is, I would say I would read the first 10 books in order, and then, because we had Graham McNeil on twice. When he first came on, we asked him this question, like, how long was the Horus Heresy going to last, like, books-wise? And they didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
So once they seen how popular it was and so many people coming back, that's how the book started going out, I think. So, like, I would definitely recommend you to read the 2 books that I always recommend people to read back to back is No Fear and Betrayer, because that follows World Eaters, isn't it?
Is Betrayer where Angron gets turned into a demon by Lorgar, I think,
Yeah, so you've got, I'd say on that, Dunk, you should do 3 back to back. So No Fear and Betrayer, definitely. But then the one before it is the one about the word bearers, and someone in the chat remind me what it was called.
Betrayer?
The Last Heretic. The First Heretic.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant the Last Heretic, because it follows.
Those 3 are amazing in sequence, and I think we've said this before, Dunk, a couple of times. There are so many you can just look at the whole series and be like, the first couple you start reading, you get an idea of what's going on, what the story is. Okay, right, and you can just do the rest of them out of sync.
Yeah.
To a good point, and then they start widening back in and tightening up for the Siege Terror. So just look at that order. I think maybe that middle chunk, you'll be like, fancy reading that one, and you could just bounce around just a little bit.
The ones that interest me are the ones that are like that concern the chapters that have like I would say I know quite a lot about all the lore because I inhale stuff like lore, and I just read and I read and I read. But everyone says First Heretic is really good because everyone says that it actually makes you sympathise with the
Yeah.
word bearers and
It
understand where they're
does.
coming from. Same with like the Prospero burning arc. Like there's Prospero burns, and so there's one novel from the Thousand Suns perspective, and then there's one from the Space
Yeah.
Wolves perspective.
Thousand
And
Sons
again,
of
neither of those chapters I've that fussed about, but everyone said that those are really really good.
I would definitely recommend the First Heretic and Betrayer because it follows, even though it's about uh, Lorgar and the Wordbearers, it follows a specific person's journey,
Mm.
and it's just such a good arc. It's probably I've actually bought them in book, and then I bought them in Audible because they're just out the all the books. I think that like my two favourite novels is because it's just such a sad story. And I'm also just going to throw this out here as well. Everybody goes on about Loken, right, being the hero of Esteban 3. Fucking Saul Tarvitz, man, he fucking fucks up.
I do love Logan because I started a loyalist Lunar Wolves force because like the tragedy of the Lunar Wolf Sons of Horus is just awful because they could have been the best, but then they weren't. And I really enjoyed the way that Loken was written, and I was definitely an Emperor's Children hater. I didn't understand. I didn't understand it. It was just like, oh, so like perfection is your thing. Like that's lame. Like, but yeah, that arc of when you follow the Emperor's Children, I was like, oh shit, like I get it. Because Quipster nerd, he's got like this immaculately painted loyalist Emperor's Children's Force of Heresy, and he is so passionate about heresy and Emperor's Children loyalists specifically, and I definitely got it after reading it. And yeah, Saul Tarvitz, he was done dirty.
If it wasn't for him, they would have all been wiped out in Esteban.
Yeah,
That's the thing, but they always know about, oh, Loken. Saul Tarvitz, man. Saul Tarvitz.
he was, and Solomon Demeter, like that was brutal when Lucius stabbed him and killed him. I was like, oh, well, that's the other thing. Lucius, like again, this is where I know who Lucius the Eternal was, and I know that he was the evil guy who betrayed. Well, he got betrayed and then he betrayed them back. I've got a real soft spot for him. Like he's just a big insecure baby who wants to be loved and wasn't loved enough, and then he's just lashes out at everyone. I thought his little arc was really, really brilliant because he was almost on the cusp of being a loyalist, and then he just was like, fuck that guy Saul Tarvitz. I'm gonna be a traitor, you know.
I'm going to throw this out to you both here, right? And you may cancel the Inquisition and kick me off if you want. Right? Lucius the Eternal is basically just a poor man's Darth Vader.
Daddy didn't love him enough.
And you know what, though? That's
right. The Jedi Council didn't recognise him as master. Do you know what I mean? His old arm wrapped around him. Do you know what I mean? He was wanting to suck up to Eidolon, wanting to suck up to Shreve.
Oh, Eidolon. Oh, I forgot.
I
forgot how much I hate Eidolon. He's the worst and the least sympathetic character in the heresy so far. Jesus.
Okay. I realise where you are up to, but I think this is something, and we can. I think the nail on the head here is right that for years and years we've had Space Marine characters written up. He's a Space Marine. He can punch you in the face and your head will explode. Yeah. And although they're meant to be set up from humanity, these books really have done a great job. Although they're meant to be transhuman super soldiers, and no, they've been chemically engineered, this, that, the other. They are all still just big kids wanting to be loved.
Yeah.
And their insecurities and all of them come out. And I think a lot of the authors like Dan Abnett, Graham McNeil, Aaron Dembski have done a really good job of instilling, not even in like the standard Marines and some of the human characters, but even in like Primarchs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You really get a sense of empathy or hatred in reading the books. And I think they've done an amazing job at that, because how you actually are meant to make these toy soldiers seem like there's a point to them and how you can connect with them.
Yeah.
And I think they've done amazing jobs on that from the whole. And I don't know where they're going with it, or obviously with the Sundering and everything else going forward with it. But it's a good time to be alive, because like when we started off, it was just you had the only real source of lore was codexes and the rule books, and then maybe some of the early Uriel Ventress stuff was coming out, and the early Logan Grimnar stuff, not Logan Grimnar, Blackmane. And then it's just gone, boom. They've realised, here's a market. Let's get actually some good writers in to make some good bloody stories.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I get that's the one thing which is really good after coming back. I have got so much to catch up on. Like Jesus, like I'm definitely a Dan Abnett fanboy, because I just think he is probably the best writer that they've got. But I'm about 3/4 of the way through the Gaunt's Ghosts series,
Great series.
Those are good books. I'm reading. I've got it here actually. Is it? What's the last one? I'm on. This is compelling content. Man turns page.
Yeah,
I've just.
it's better than what we had 3-4 weeks ago, where Tristy was saying rim for it seemed like 4 days.
Oh yeah, get a female guest on, and all she does is talk about rimming. Yeah.
I did see that. I thought that was compelling content. Actually, I love a bit of rimming.
Don't start again.
Only in Death is the one that I've just started, and I just know that it's like there's just foreshadowing out the wazoo. It's all going to go terribly wrong. I can just feel it. They've gone into a big haunted house on the side of a mountain. They're all going to die. You know, it's going to be Gaunt alone, with Ron probably at the end of it. But I mean, that's definitely another series that I've loved, because there's not a single Space Marine in the entire series, apart from like one or two. And again, it just gets across the bloody slog that it is to be an ordinary person. Also, because it's boring. You know, it's crap. It's not fun. And all you have to, the only thing that is, it's for the Emperor. It's for the Imperium. Just keep going and you'll be fine. And yeah, those kind of humanizing moments, I think, is what I loved about the kind of the literature and stuff. It's kind of why I didn't like Descent of Angels. That's the one heresy book that I'm not.
Yeah, I didn't connect with that properly. I really didn't.
Up until they're actually Space Marines, ironically. And I don't know if it's just I can't remember who the author is off the top of my head.
James Swallow.
Yeah, it just felt really stilted. Like the first 2/3 were like, I want to be a knight. I like this thing. Do you like this thing? Hello, this thing. And it was just like, come on, like, it was only after they became Space Marines where I was like, oh, it's kind of finally gotten into its flow, and then it was over.
It picked up. You finally get into a point, and you're like, the end. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, but obviously, it's very Dark Angels. That like keep the suspense going. Like, what do they all mean? But it was just like, God damn it! Like, just as it really kept me annoyed throughout most of the book.
But like, all the traitor legions fell because they had bad first captains.
Yeah.
Because they apparently know what they're doing, because the Cabal told them, whatever. But what we're going to do is we're going to step away slightly, right? And I'm going to test your knowledge here on colours. What happens if you mix red and blue? No?
Sorry?
No, I'm going down. Carry on. This is a strange.
I can't remember the colours now. Fuck it.
You said red and blue.
This is a plug for orange brushes, right? I can't remember what two colours make orange, right? I'm trying to be smart there, but I can't remember. But
red and yellow. Red and yellow.
Red and yellow. That's what I say.
Yeah.
You're thinking the purple tip brushes, which is the range we're going to launch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just wanted to say purple in a Scottish accent, didn't you?
Purple. No, well, me and Casey are kind of having an idea of bringing up our own brushes. It's got a nice pink shaft, purple ferrule, and a load of white bristles.
It's going to look ridiculous, but that was painful, Sam. Yes, that was. I think I'm definitely the advertiser of the group.
Yeah, you're the advertiser.
You're the
So
show. You're the showman.
we've warmed you up and gave you a really bad plug for orange brushes, but now we get to the real questions, and I pass you over to my compadre, Casey.
Compadre, that's very polite. So yes, part of the whole point of the Inquisition is we get to know the hobbyist, but we like to get to know the person too, because at the end of the day, we are all people, and it is important that we understand who we're dealing with. And not only that, it also gives a good way for people who don't know who you are have a proper reason to follow you than other just then, oh, you like painting minis. So the first question we always launch this segment is off with is, what is your favorite bag of crisps?
Ooh. Can I give you a really hyper-specific one?
Yeah.
It's discontinued. It is the. Do you remember when Walker Sensations were first launched in like the 2000s? They used to do a lamb and mint sauce crisp.
Yes.
Yes.
That is my favorite crisp ever, and they only brought it back once, and I found out by mistake. When Charles became king, they brought out like royal flavors, and I was like, fuck, I'm a Republican.
The lamb and mint was one of
I
them.
was like, hang on, lamb and mint. I was like, I'm gonna see, and they were exactly the same. And I was like, and I was happy for a brief minute in time. So yeah, lamb and mint sauce sensations in the white bag, circa 2004.
You know what? when they came out, I remember seeing them in Sainsbury's and thinking, hang on, they bought them back. And I must have bought about 5 bags because you could only get them in the big bags.
Yeah.
I bought them home, and my wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, she looked at me and went, you fucking mad? Why have you bought all these crisps? And I was like, just have it. Just taste them.
You had to be there. You had to be there.
I tell you what, those 5 bags disappeared. Like, we demolished them. We must have bought all of the local Sainsbury's bags of them.
So Moorish. Like, yeah. If the boring answer is, though, if we're talking current, Quavers. I love Quavers. Since I was a little kid.
What flavour?
Just the normal one. I used to scrunch them up in the packet so that they were dust and just like tip them down. Just
that's some Homer Simpson way of in eating them. I love it.
Removing all the interesting bit about eating a crisp, which is like the texture and the flavour. But yeah, just Quaver dots.
So I was actually looking through some Facebook posts yesterday, and it was like throwing out snacks of yesteryear, and there was a bag of crisps that I actually forgot existed until this, and it was the Tudor crisps when they did gammon and pineapple crisps.
Wow, Tudor crisps. That's a throwback.
They were good crisps.
I think my wife's gran worked for Tudor crisps because they had a factory in Seaham. I think it was Tudor. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's like a northeastern Tudor. Like
it is. It definitely is.
Because then they showed like spirals. I remember spirals and secret and a chocolate sweetie that nobody really remembers. Vice versa. Do you remember them?
Yes.
So it had like a black shell, but the chocolate was white inside. Highly racist, mind you, but with the connotations. But
these companies could make so much money because the nostalgia market is just insane. Look at Warhammer. To be fair, like the kind of the stuff that they bring out, it's a lot of it is tinged with our nostalgia because all the people who've got all the money now, we remember this kind of stuff. And with crisps, like I always loved like the snide packets that you get out of like vending machines at a swimming bath, like
Tangy Toms for 10p and shit like that.
Space Raiders, discos. Do you remember they were called Frisps?
Yep.
Like they were like the most like acidic, pongy, tangy crisps ever. And like, because I used to get them as a treat. Obviously, as a kid, go for an hour's exercise, get a bag of crisps as a reward. But yeah, I just love those ones. So so that is
the pool, and then a bag of chips on the way home, and that was
literally
yeah.
So yes, final answer for 10 points is lamb and mint sauce crisps, circa 2004.
Love that. So let's take you back to when Charles was being crowned. Then the crisps are back. What was your beverage of choice to wash those crisps down? Now you didn't say you're a big drinker, so whatever you want to say is your drink of choice. We are happy to accept.
Oh, if it's a treat drink, vanilla Coke. Like, and
Oh,
again, and you can't really get it here anymore because all you can get here is like sugar free. But again, it's all back to when I was a kid. But they've released vanilla Coke, and I was obsessed with it. But weirdly enough, you can get it now on like TikTok Shop. A little while ago, I bought like a slab of 24, and it's like stuff that fell off the back of a lorry. Yeah, I like again. I'm not like a massive fizzy drinks person, but vanilla Coke, like ice cold out of a can, is crack to me. But don't have it
Yeah.
don't have it very often because I'm 35 and I need to take care of myself. But when the mood strikes, a little bit of fizzy pop is mwah.
do you remember? Do you remember Tab Clear back in the
Yeah.
day?
That doesn't ring a bell now.
Yeah. It was just Coke, but see-through. They didn't add the colorings to it. That's all it was.
That's really weird.
It tasted. It might have tasted a little bit different because I think it was one of the first sugar-free ones, wasn't it?
I think so. The can was weird looking.
Yeah. And they had like the adverts for it featured like Bigfoot and stuff. But
Yeah.
I will say, a freezing cold can of Coke on a hot day is still like
I will
perfect.
I'll take your can and raise you a glass bowl.
A glass. If you can get
Oh
the
yeah,
glass bowl, yes,
a glass
100%.
bottle of iron brew, and then you
Oh,
tip something with it straight after you've drank it. Oh, it's a refreshing drink and a weapon, with a deadly assault weapon as well. Oh, you can't beat anything out of a glass bottle, especially iron brew.
it's
I
true.
I
I
went
tell
to
you what.
I did the North Coast 500 in Scotland a couple of years ago, and I did seek out an iron brew in Scotland because I'm sure they are different north of the border, and it was delightful. I love it. Like it's not something that you drink all the time because you just don't think to grab it, but it's really nice.
Did you
Like it
start
well.
when you were drinking it? Did you start to hate the English more and more?
I hate the I'm self hate the English anyway. I'm like
Well, we say that Geordies are just confused Scottish people, but so yeah.
honest. There was a time when I was wishing that like Nicola Sturgeon would annex us, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. But you guys are so close. Like the free prescriptions are so close yet so far away.
It's only like an hour on the train to Edinburgh, so don't
Yeah.
worry too much. Now, I do actually have a follow-up question that I have asked our previous Geordies that we get on, and this is always one that confuses a lot of people. But when you have a northeastern guest, you do have to ask.
I don't
When it
know them deck. I don't know them. I'm sorry.
no. Weirdly enough, my missus was in not Coronation Street, bloody Biker Grove. But that isn't the next question. Were you in Biker Grove? What I will ask is when it comes to a cup of tea, are you a supermarket brand person, or do you like the ringtones?
I never used to like Ringtons because my grandma used to use that. She would always have the Ringtons tea and the Ringtons biscuits. I never liked it. I'm a Yorkshire man. That's
Oh,
But
see,
also, I used to be a journalist, and you would get cups of tea, and you would just buy whatever was there. So I had the full gamut of tea, and it really kind of honed my palate. Tetley's and PG chips can get in the bin, frankly, but Yorkshire was when I set out. But yeah, Ringtons, it was never. I just never liked it. I don't know if it was like if it was a bit Earl Grey like tasting, or I just never liked it. But my
I rem-
grandma, God
yeah,
bless her soul.
I had to explain this to Dunk because it's the concept that, and I still think people in the chat might not understand this, but it's the concept that the man comes to your house and sells
Yeah,
it to you at your door. And when we lived in London, like, and the missus told me about this, I was like, you what? Yeah, the door-to-door tea salesman.
yeah.
And then we moved to where we are now, and she discovered there's a guy up the road who does it. So instantly got him round. He comes around once a fortnight. She buys all sorts of tat off him. But I will say, some of the biscuits are quite good.
They are good.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's Nana, she sometimes gets stuff from the Ringtons man, and it might just appear in like a Christmas stocking or like a little birthday treat. It's just like, no, thank you. But yeah, but it's they would just prey on the elderly. Like there's a lonely nana. I can get £50 worth of tea out of her, like guaranteed.
They do. They do. It's horrendous. It's like Avon people. I mean, And our middle class Watfordonian in Florida talking about Twinings. Get out of here. Fucking Twinings. Wanker.
It's not even tea, is it?
It's just posh shit in a box. So when we are not hobbying, when we're not 40k and we're not yearning for our lamb and mint crisps, what else do you do to unwind? We're talking films, games, anything else?
Like I do a lot of reading. Definitely not watching films and doing games. I don't know how you guys are, but like I definitely get like a bit of hobby gridlock.
Yes.
But I've got loads of different interests and stuff. But like it's kind of like, oh, I'd love to do some painting, but it's just like there's a game I'd love to play though. Like when can I do that? And like, oh, but then like I built myself a PC about 3 years ago. So it's like, oh, I'll play a PC game. And then like, oh, but I should read, shouldn't I? Because that'll make my mind, stay healthy. And then you just end up being like, fuck, what am I doing? But yeah, so like definitely all of those kind of things, because it's just I've always just been in that nerdy space. So I just like all of those kind of things. As much as it pains me to say, I do actually like running now, which is terrible because my girlfriend she's run for years and years and she's done marathons and stuff. And I think a few birthdays ago, it was kind of like, if you will like play a game of 40k with me and we'll do some kill team, it's like I will run I'll do like a park run with you. And it was almost like kind of and the thing is, it is good for me because like, you should take care of yourself. But it's gotten to that stage where I'm not bad at running and I actually kind of enjoy it when I'm doing it, which is really horrible to admit, I have to say. But
I don't think there's a shame in admitting that you enjoy something that keeps you fit and healthy, because at the end of the day, none of us are spring chickens anymore. We should all do something to get off our asses. And
I want to sit down and eat chips and just do nothing. But
then if you go for an hour's run at some point, you can sit down and eat chips. That's the way you counterbalance it. I'll go to the gym and I'll eat a packet of cookies afterwards. I've done the hard work, so I can enjoy those cookies. If I don't lose any weight, who cares?
I do draw the line because Soph, she goes and does it at like 6 a.m, and I'm like, nah. Like I did try and do that for a while. I was like, what works for me? I'm not a morning person when it comes to waking up and exercising. Like, the people who like wake up at 4:30 and they get the eggs in and then they go to the gym for 5, and I'm like, nah.
Like, well, yeah. Father-in-law does that. He's a great bloke, but he'll wake up when he's at home in Sunderland. He'll wake up at 5 a.m, do a 5-mile run, come home, get on his bike for half an hour, and do a ride in the garage on like the wheels he's got set up on it. And this is all before like even the sun's come up, and he's just like, what? Why? Why are you doing this? Why? Just stay in bed. Bed's nice.
Honestly, like I don't mind getting up. Like I'm not like I don't lay around all day, but there's like a limit. Like 7 o'clock is like my cut off. Like I'm just not getting out to exercise before then.
When I first started seeing the wife when we were courting,
she
was like to me, I was like to her, what are you doing the weekend? She was like, I'm doing the Paisley 10k. So do you fancy doing it? And I was like, yeah, I was in the army, I'm fit as fuck. I'll beat you. I'll beat you. So she was like, right, I'll pick you up at 7 a.m. on the Sunday. And I was like, that's fine. So I went out with my boys and I was like to the boys, right, can't get too drunk. Try and impress this lassie. I'm going to go a 10k run. After they stopped laughing for 10 minutes, they were, are you being serious? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go this run. So I get absolutely shit-faced, absolutely, and she woke me up at 6:30. So my plan was, I was absolutely dying, was just to take off. And if I could get further away from her, then I could stop and get my breath back. I was that slow that the guy in the gorilla suit was overtaking me at the end.
As long as there's a bloke in the diving suit that takes 3 days.
I did that thing. My first thing was doing couch to 5k, and like there is just it wasn't actually the doing it. It was the embarrassment. Like not the embarrassment, but like the first thing is literally run for a minute and then like walk for 2, and you just feel like a tit because like and again it's similar. It was kind of like you have to get past the point of caring, because like who's going to give a shit who sees you on the road? Because it was just like, oh, they're going to know that I'm doing a couch to 5k, and it's just like, well, but you're doing a couch to 5K, so like stop being a tit, Johnny, and like just do the damn thing. And then it's fine, then it came. But like now I'm working up to a 10K, which is more daunting, but
Yeah.
like it's doable,
Yeah, and before you know it, you'll be representing the UK in the Olympics doing the marathon.
I still think my Olympic career is there. In the same way that I'm probably going to be, I'm waiting for Newcastle to call me up to be a striker, because as all my childhood ambition was to be Alan Shearer. It's not happened yet, but I never give up hope.
Yeah,
See a Geordie, right? Is that appearing biker drove, then when you get tooled for that, become Alan Shearer, and then when you become tooled for that, host I'm a Celebrity.
That is my current career trajectory, I think. I just need that and deck to clear off, and then I can do it.
Or your backup plan, be Jimmy Nails and do some crocodile shoes.
I love Jimmy Nail.
Or Fog on the Time, give it a bit of Gaza.
You do need a serious alcohol addiction though for that.
Yeah, you need to know very much.
I love Lindisfarne, and I love Sam Fender, and I love Sting. I'm just all the stereotypes.
So do you, if you are a bit of a Geordie fan, do you get down to St James's every now and again, or?
It's honestly hard now. It used to be really easy when we were shit. But it has changed a lot. Like the way that they do tickets, it's all different. And it's kind of entering a ballot, and you have to be a member, and you have to pay to be a member. And then that doesn't even guarantee it. You're just going to get put in the pot. So it's the kind of thing where the games that I've been to recently, it's because I've had a friend who's had a spare ticket going. So then I'll just pop along. The weird thing, I've been to because I live in Manchester, I've been to the Etihad more often than I've been to the St James's recently. Again, just because I've had friends who've had tickets, and it's like I'll go. Like I saw a couple of years ago, I saw City versus Bayern Munich, which was pretty sick in like the posh, like squashy seats as well. So I'll take that. I don't like them, but I'll take the free ticket.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think sometimes with the teams that we support is it's not just a case of battle to get the team that you like. Sometimes it's just a case of getting a game is good enough. Like I've kept my season ticket for Palace, and I've not been to every home game this season, annoyingly. But it is like you say, like sometimes trying to get that extra ticket to take my son to a Premier League game is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just
the way that it's going,
Yeah. It is.
Weirdly, I went to the butcher at lunch because I was just getting some stuff for Spag Ball, and the guy was giving us the beef, and it was because it's been really sunny in Manchester. It was like 15 degrees today, and he was like, "You enjoying the weather?" And then for some reason, he just started talking about what's happening in the Gulf, and then about the World Cup, and he's like, "Oh, what's going to happen with the World Cup?" And he's like, "Do you know what time the World Cup's on?" I was like, 2 a.m. for us, and he was like, "Oh, it's going to the dogs," and I was like, "Yeah, it is, but like I came here to get some pork. Like, how do we get here?"
There is this thing with, I think with butchers, tradesmen, delivery people, cabbies, if you get them, and even sometimes hairdressers, if you can get them going on a topic, that's it, they're gone. They'll chat to you forever. And you just stand in there like, can I pay now, please? I've got to go home, I've got to work. Come on, sort me out.
I can't judge too much, because like if you get me talking about like Horus Heresy, I will just keep going, and I will just keep going, and I will just keep going. So I have to have a bit of humility, because I'm just as bad. I'm just as bad. I just waste more money on it than they do.
So when you mentioned obviously that you built yourself a PC, you do try and dabble on your PC games. What is your games of choice? Are we talking shooters, strategies?
Strategies and RPGs. Like I think my earliest ones were like The Sims and Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like that's true heritage back in the day. It's always been like Total War games, that kind of franchise. Because I did history at university. I'm like mental for history, so like anything which is historical, that's me down to a T. I've put too many hours into Baldur's Gate 3, which was like worth every minute, but like bloody hell, that taking me quite a long time. But but yeah, just kind of games like that, because anything which just kind of gives me a bit of freedom to like a kind of sandbox to do what I want to do. Like I definitely enjoy those games. Like I definitely what for a long time I was very much Call of Duty boy, FIFA boy, but like they're not the games that I play anymore. You know, I think my last FIFA was like FIFA 2014 because I used to
Yeah.
play it throughout like university like avidly. My mates and I used to have we had a whiteboard in our living room that we'd tally like who was winning the most over the course of the year.
Get your league
Um,
going.
but yeah, like not haven't played those games in years and stuff because they just changed. And then like again, ironically talking about money, but they just became like a money machine that you have
Yes.
to pay to get players and pay and stuff to win. It just wasn't my thing. So
Yeah,
I
it
feel
is
like
the same.
like a slower pace of game, which is just that I can enjoy, you know, with not too many microtransactions.
And did
Yeah,
you try Space Marine 2 or 1
Oh
then?
yeah, absolutely loved it. Like, just I think they nailed it. Because again, I'm not mass. I don't really like. I used to love shooters, but it just kind of depends what they are. But yeah, I played that and I was like, holy shit, this is a good game.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job. Like they just absolutely nailed the setting and the vibe and all that kind of stuff. And it was just really good fun. So yeah, loved that game. That was really, really good.
here's a question for you. Do you remember when BBC Two had the kind of military guys come on and they would like recreate battles from the past? It was like using like
Dan
holograms.
Snow and Jon Snow, they would
No,
stand
no,
on the battlefield. Oh, no,
yeah.
no, you're talking about.
Are you talking about Time Commanders?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it? Because like they would do like Roman battles and they'd have like
Yeah.
some guy say
Yeah,
Santos
they
and
used to. Well, it was that thing where that was on, and I was like, "Hang on, that's the game that I play. That's Rome Total War."
Yeah.
And it was really annoying because everyone who played it was really shit.
Think that.
They weren't doing it very well.
And
But
then they would have the one,
I used to love that. I used to love that TV show. I thought it was really, really good.
and they had the historical expert sitting there. It's like, well, at this point, Hannibal had double enveloped them, so I don't know what these idiots are doing. You're just like, oh, shit.
You're
yeah,
not. You're not a very good Julius Caesar, are you?
In Caesar salad.
just when you mentioned Total War, I just remember that guy. I always remember the kind of American guy who was because it always said Santos, and like he would go, yes, like the hoplites would have like wiped out the archers by now. Why is his archers running up that hill and
Yeah.
they get charged down with the cavalry and elephants are just stamping fuck out of people?
Like it's to be fair, like it's you have to play the game quite quickly, and the way that it was set up, it was like general talks to their mate, who's the lieutenant, who then goes and talks to some bloke at a computer
Yeah.
to do the thing, and like that's not a way to play a video game. Like I don't think I saw anyone ever win the game because it just gets out of hand too quickly.
It started just turning into like nightmare. No one would ever win this show.
Yeah.
It was basically just the next step up from Nightmare. Wasn't it? It's like the guys that were in Nightmare would end up on Battle Command or something.
No, that was actually I completely forgot about that because when you said about it, all I could think of was Dan Snow and Jon Snow standing on a field talking about and Napoleon came down here, and you're like, yeah, all right, mate. But it is, I do love how I think his gaming has latched onto history
Yeah.
and made it a lot more sort of relevant and accessible for people. Because I've got like a lot of my mates would never play the World War II Call of Duties or Battlefield 1. They'd only stick to the modern stuff. But then the fact that companies were able to sort of leech into it and be like, okay, let's try and obviously there's a little bit of like money involved, but it's also a case of, hey, look, this happened. Do you know about this? Because we'll make a game out of it for you. So, yeah.
There's quite a lot of things in my brain where like I'll say something and someone's like, "How do you know that?" And it's just like, I played it in a video game once, and when I was 14, and I remembered it. Why? It's like the most normal thing in the world. But
There's loads of stuff like that. My mates used to call me Uncle Albert because the stuff I used to come up with, and they're like, "Shut up, go away, Uncle Albert, Casey, you lunatic."
Or a random bit of trivia that you would remember from 15 to 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that, even now that affects me. I can be sitting there and be like, oh no, that's not right for a Sherman tank. And someone's like, how do you know? It's like, oh, I wish I didn't.
That's not actually where the mudguard would go.
Yeah.
That's the wrong caliber machine gun, actually.
Oh, someone's ruined Fallout for me because they put a clip online. Walton Goggins reloading his Winchester, but apparently the production company gave him the wrong size shells for it and couldn't find the right ones. So he's trying to load it, but all he's doing is he's got his shell in his hand, just going like
Cancel
doing
it.
that, just
Cancel it
bouncing
now.
it off the side of the weapon, and it's like I can't unsee that now. You've ruined it for me.
Just get rid of the show. Just like ban it. Nobody wants to watch it anymore.
Did you hear?
What I hate is when I watch a TV show and there's like military guys in it and they've got their headdress and the headdress looks just like ridiculous. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is not how that beret or headdress should be worn. And I start screaming at the telly and the wife's like, why do you care? You've not been in the army for like 25 years. Like,
Yeah.
but like, there
It
must have
fits
been
with you.
somebody, a consultant who would have seen this and just went, fuck it, on you go.
Rush is just saying in the chat there was a kid on a school trip who knew his way around Rome from just playing Assassin's Creed. That's immense. But could you jump between the Vatican and the building next to it? Probably not. But you know what?
If you give us a run up, I could give it a go. You know. One of my mates went to like Florence and he was like, climb that, being up that tower.
I slit somebody's throat up there and just threw them down and nobody seen me do it.
There's a street in Paris that was like a very recognizable Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer map. It's got like a curved street that goes down, and like it pops up on the internet every now and again because it's like if you're of a certain age, you've been here, and it's like, oh, I have been there. Like, yes, I called in an airstrike from that corner. Yeah.
One of the last Call of Duties I played, it was set on Piccadilly Circus, and I'm shouting, "They've gone into Lillywhite!" And my mate's like, "Stop using the real fucking location. Just say the shop."
I think I played that at the start. And there's like a terror thing at the start. Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah,
it's gone into Ripley's Believe It or Not, and everyone's like, "That isn't in the game, you prick."
I mean, after playing Modern Warfare, I'm pretty sure I could navigate my way around Pripyat in Ukraine. Like, I'm pretty sure I know my way around Chernobyl. You know, there's a really nice Ferris wheel I could get on and
just crawl and watch out for the signs that say radiation. You'll be fine. But it is crazy for that. Like, I'll tell you what the weirdest one was for me there. I took my dad to Berlin years and years ago for a football match. And the day after, we just had time to kill before the flight home. And we've gone into one of the squares. And he's standing there and he looked well confused. He's like, I know this place. I was like, you've never been to Berlin? He went, no, this is the Jason Bourne film. He grabs the girl from there and drags her in the pram. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, how have you remembered that? But it is crazy for what just sticks in your mind that he just remembered that from out of the absolute blue. But yeah,
but you can't remember your birthday.
No, it's my mum that can't remember my birthday or how old I am. My dad's usually all right.
Maybe you gave her such a traumatic birth that she's erased it from her mind.
I think I did. My dad does like to remind me every now and again I nearly killed my mum. So he's a prick. Right, let's get back on topic.
So, because is it just mainly Warhammer you're doing, or are you looking into doing like any other gaming systems? Because I'm starting to look at, well, I've actually bought it, the old Conflict 47. Is there anything else that's tickling your fancy?
To be fair, the conflict stuff does look really cool because it's almost kind of in that Fallout way of like that kind of sort of alternate history. And I think like everyone, they've seen Trench Crusade and think, ooh, that looks a bit fun. Because that does, more so just because the models are amazing. But like it's kind of one of those things where you think like I'm trying to kind of get out of the. I've bought so much stuff. Like I've got like 3 boxes in the cupboard behind me of just things that I bought off like eBay or Vinted, of just like single models. Like I've got those little tiny old metal obliterators for Chaos that are from like the 90s that are like that big. So I've got those, and it's just like, why did I buy that? Like. So I'm trying to kind of step away from like the compulsive, like I'll just get that because I think it's fun. But I definitely do like the look of Conflict and Trench Crusade just because the aesthetic really appeals to me. But I'm trying to kind of I'm definitely at the minute just trying to focus about like playing 40k. Like I'm having my first proper game of 40k tomorrow. I don't know if you know Bravo. He's on Instagram.
Oh, Bravo was he in the chat? Look, Bravo Miniatures is in the chat a little while ago.
Yeah. So Bravo, we've nearly crossed paths a few times because he lives in Manchester as well. And a while ago we were just saying like, should we play a game? Because like that's the one thing which is definitely difficult because I don't have like a local community of gamers and stuff. So it's kind of, and like I definitely have that kind of social anxiety of like I don't just kind of rock up and be like, will you play with me, please? But me and Bravo were talking and saying like, because he'd been learning recently. I used to play 40k, 20 years ago. So tomorrow we're going to head to Element Games in Stockport and have a 1,000 point match, which I'm looking forward to. Which should be really really good fun because it's changed a lot since I was since I was a kid. But I had to dust off like my old Imperial Guard, so I've got like 20-year-old Cadians that I've got about 70 layers of paint on them. That I'm gonna have to drag out. And I was saying to Bravo, I was just like, please don't judge me because like I was only a child. But yeah,
So
I'm gonna.
this is actually quite good, I think, here because I've struggled to get games for ages, and in the end, I forced myself to join a league and threw myself in the deep end. And I know Dunk's done similar, where he's like, I've got to do something. Fuck it, threw himself into a tournament. Dunk, for the new player, what sort of tips would you give?
Try and remember to use your strats, and or try and remember your faction's abilities. I'm working on a new detachment, so last week when I played it, I only remembered the abilities that my guys have, so it would stick in. And then this week I'm going to try and add in specific strats as well. So just baby steps. But if you remember like what character does what to your space chimps, or what Tyrannid does whatever to some other Tyrannid, then that helps as well.
What's your army? What are you playing at the minute?
Death Guard.
Death Guard. Funnily enough, this afternoon, because what I was doing, I was going through my rule book and my codex, and I had new recruit up. And I was and I just on an A4 sheet of paper, like literally like it was 20 years ago, I was like writing down what does Ursula Creed do? And like what's the special little thing that make her interact with other units? And like even just things like because again, like when I was doing it, like Lasgun's like rapid fire didn't exist 20 years ago. So I've just kind of written down like because I've got a brick of like 20 Cadians. So I was just like, Cadians, rapid fire, like when you're 12 inches away. Like and remember that. And like, because I guess that's the thing. I can totally understand why people complain about rules bloat because there's so much. And I feel like if you're playing regularly, like weekly, that stuff will just become common knowledge. But for the casual, it does feel a bit more overwhelming. But kind of similar to what you guys. I'm just gonna throw myself into it and just have a go and like, Bravo, and he's new to it, and we're just saying like we're just gonna throw some dice and just have fun. Like I've got 2 Lehman Russ tanks. Like those are going to be fun. I'm going to lob some. It's going to be really interesting because I've got crap loads of guard, and he's bringing like quite a good Imperial Fist force. So it's like, oh, that's going to be like quite a mismatch. But also like, will my numbers count more for his like elite kind of thing? So that'll be really fun.
I think the tip I would give, right, and this is something I think I fell afoul of in maybe my first game. Nowadays, the game of 40k, there was always obviously the movement elements to it, but it is very much more real sort of fast think on your feet with your movement.
Yeah.
Because I've played 2 40k games in the last month, lost them both, but in one game I didn't really get my movement in too much, and I didn't really sort of get up the board quick enough. And in the second, I sort of went up one side, and my opponent came down the other, and he destroyed most of my army coming down the side. He did. So it's just being careful with your movement, thinking about your cover, because like back in the day playing it, it was just a case of, I don't care, I can roll dice, whatever, have a bit of a laugh. But they really sort of made you think about how important your movement is now.
Yeah.
So it is just worth bearing that in mind, especially if he's bringing fists. Obviously, your guard are going to be quite soft, but if you've got your tanks, he's going to have to think how to position stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the only sort of thing I would say.
Just to you, Battleborn managers, unfortunately, mate, this is only for our guest this week. This is a weekly when we bring on a guest. We do have random shows called the Chaos shows where anybody can come in, but this is the introduction of Jonnyispainting. So we would love to have you on in one of our future Chaos shows, or even dedicate an episode to yourself, pal.
Yeah. Get in
But
touch with us.
yeah, DM us and we'll speak to you. Like, but I would have accepted you if it was a Chaos show, but this is all about Johnny because Johnny is chatting. So
And
sorry, mate.
speaking of which, our most loyal tuner inner, he's come at it again. He was Graham did say he was a bit annoyed we didn't ask the question last week. I did explain it wasn't really that sort of show last week, but I feel we can ask it this week. I feel we can get him back and included.
Yeah. So Graham's question, he asks this every week, is which Primarch would you bring back regardless of what happened to them previously, and which would you kill off permanently? I've had this loaded for 20 minutes. What, a poo?
Oh, who would I bring back, and who would I kill off? That's a really good question. Let's think about the bringing back. I wouldn't bring back. I wouldn't bring back Ferris, because him dying is like key to the Iron Hands being the miserable, self-hating people they are, which is great. I mean, hang on, I'm just trying to remember all the Primarchs list. So I'm not going to bring back Horace because he needs to stay dead. We've got Lionel, he's come back because Corax. So I would probably bring back Alfarius and or Omegon. Well, no, Omegon's dead because I think, did Dawn punch his head off, or was it Gulliman? I can't remember. I'll probably bring back Alfarius because I just think after I read Alpha Legion, I think that was so interesting because I was like, who actually, which side are they on? Because that opened the door for like, is Alpha Legion playing a 10,000-year-long game to be the bad guy, but to make sure that the Empire doesn't fall, or are they just chaos? You know. So yeah, bring back Alfarius, because that would just be fascinating. But then it would also ruin a lot of the lore because the whole point is the mystery.
Because I was like, law saying that Alfarius was the first Primarch to be found.
Yeah, seen that, yeah. And like,
but there's also law saying he's not dead.
And the Emperor set that whole thing in motion that he was going to be the trump card. I think if I was going to kill anyone, kill Angron, because he's suffered enough. Just let him be back with his brothers and sisters on Nuceria, and just let him go.
Just let him die. Let him stop being greedy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the obvious one would be kill Lorgar, but like, don't kill Lorgar because he's the ultimate big bad, and everyone needs the dick, you know, to be the evil one around causing all the problems.
You say that, right? And I've said this before on this show, and I've been chastised for my opinion. But where I mentioned earlier about how the authors of the Horus Heresy series have done such a good job humanizing so many different characters, Lorgar for me, I think, was the perfect one that they did that to. Because so many people are like, he's a whingy crybaby, he's this, he's that, he's the other. And I think as you go on to experience the rest of the series and he gets involved, it does change your opinion of him.
Yeah, I think so many of the interesting stories when I've been reading Heresy is kind of like people's people being like let down in various ways, or people having expectations that aren't met, or having expectations that are met and then not followed up. You know, I think those are the interesting bits, because I think more so than 40k, the Astartes of 30k are more human, because I think they've still got hope, because they believe in this massive project that one day is going to be fulfilled. Whereas the 40k characters, it's all just terrible and 10,000 years of hardship, you know. But yeah, like I said earlier, I'm really looking forward to getting to the Lorgar stuff, because he obviously, I think he very much like a caricatured character within the setting, you know. So to have a humanism would be really interesting to kind of get the reason why he is the way he is, you know.
And did Lorgar really win? Because like they all read his book.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the Emperor is a corpse sitting on a chair, and the Empire is completely crumbling around it. So, like, you know, if he's not won completely, he's definitely won. You know, he's won the first few rounds. You know.
Yeah, I think
So
he's
yes,
definitely
so yeah, I would bring back Alfarius, and I would kill Angron.
good answers. I think the Angron one's cool because so many people do like angry rage beast cutting everyone's head off, and they forget the tortured soul underneath.
He's the most tragic
Yeah.
in a plethora of tragic characters. He's the worst because like he didn't want any of it, you know. Um, he's almost like Perturabo, except Perturabo should have said something and he just wanted to sulk when he could have said, "Hang on, like, can we not?"
Yeah.
So like Perturabo is just a victim of his own like douchebaggishness. But I do like the Iron Warriors, so like I've got some heresy for them. But yeah, Perturabo's a dick. That we are like I feel like he's gonna be the next one that comes back though, because that new Armageddon setting, like that surely is setting up Perturabo coming back.
I feel like it does. Yeah, I mean, they had the tease, and then they brought out the new Iron Warrior Lord guy, and it was like everyone was a little bit gutted. But I don't think, unless you introduce him early on in 11th, I don't think there's a better time to now because, like you say, the Apocalypse game setting suits him perfectly. And
Yeah.
Apocalypse as a game mode, I'm really interested to see what they do with it because I remember the first one and it was just a case of, do you like this? Have you got loads of it? Bring it all in one game. Fuck it. Let's go. And I would like to see how they, given the game as it is now, implement it.
Right, so my last question for you before we wrap up, because we've been going just over the hour and a half mark. Would you be happy to see one of the lost or both of the lost Primarchs come back?
Kind of yes and kind of no. Like I think because we've had so many Primarchs come back, it's created more of a what I think for a long time people forget Warhammer was never like a hero based setting. Warhammer 40k,
Yeah.
it was very much like smaller characters set aside in this big setting, and the heroes were 10,000 years ago. But obviously, you know, we have to think about the economics. Like these big models, they are really cool and they sell really well, and like it's awesome to have a big centerpiece model that everyone can play with. So I'm kind of torn. I think having Primarchs back is cool, but it's kind of one of those things, you know, where people are playing, it's just like, why the hell are we fighting this little battle and Gulliman's here and Angron's here? Like, why are they in the same place? Like, so yeah, I think it's a really cool thing because I love having cool models, and the more cool things that we have on the tabletop, I think that's great. And Primarchs are really cool. I think from a narrative setting, I think it can be a bit of a lazy option because it's easy. You know, like, can you imagine how insane the fandom is going to go when like Russ comes back? You know, or Jagatai Khan. Like, people will go absolutely mental.
Yeah, but imagine if he brought back one of the lost Primarchs and some of the legends. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So like the flip side is I think the mystery is so good because you can just leave it to your own. I think as Warhammer's grown, it's sometimes the biggest strength was show, don't tell, and let you work it out for yourself. And I think the two that are missing, like or killed or taken over or whatever, like that's such a tantalizing thing because it literally can be anything you want it to be. I thought one thing was really cool actually was I was reading the Vaults of Terror series by Chris Raitt. Chris Raitt is a really good writer, and it's following Inquisitor Crowell, and he's gone underneath the throne, and he's in this cavernous chamber, and he's walking towards this set of doors, and he's saying like there were 20 godlike images in front of him, and he was like, but not the 9 that I was familiar with. So I was like, wow. So it's so old. There's 20 Primarchs on a door. And also, you're an Inquisitor, and you don't know about the 9 traitor Primarchs. That was just like, that is brilliant. and just like leaving it there. Like I want to know more, obviously, but leave it there, and it's so much more interesting.
Because we wouldn't be talking about it otherwise if the mystery
Yeah,
wasn't there.
the thing that I'd love them to bring, rather than like big characters, I would definitely love a different race. Like you get told so much about like the Hrud or the Jakaro or all these aliens that exist in the setting, because I've read like the Eisenhorn and Ravenor books, and there's loads of aliens in there, and I think that'd be really interesting. Because the last was the I was going to say the last new ones were Tau, but it weren't. It was Votan. That was the last new army that came through. But I think that'd be awesome to have some new armies and stuff. But yeah, like one day it'll be interesting to know. Like maybe when they kill off Warhammer 40k, and go. You know what my one dream would be? I would love to have a different game setting that was Unification Wars. I would love to
Yeah.
have. I'd love to have Warhammer 28k, and like I think as a setting that'd be so cool. It would be impossible to do because it's a million and one different techno barbarian tribes, but I would love that. Like Thunder Warriors and techno barbarians and all these kind of horrible people of Earth. That would be amazing. But yeah, it would be cool though if we got the missing Primarchs back. But I don't expect them to do it very soon.
Yeah. Katie, do you have any final questions for our guest tonight?
What are you going to do next, apart from your game? What's next on your hobby to-do list?
Yeah, I have my game tomorrow, and I'll plug my own thing. Me and my mate Pete, Pete the Wargamer, not the War, yeah, no, Pete the one. Oh God, what's his? I just call him Pete. Pete. We love Badab. We love the Badab War, and we're hopefully doing an event in London in April where a bunch of us are going to get together and play some 500-point games of 40k with Badab armies. And we're also doing an online thing where people can just paint a Badab mini and submit it, and we're going to judge them is the wrong word because I don't have any prizes, but like just celebrate a really cool setting. And it was brilliant that Maelstrom came out because it's like Badab. So I really need to get some stuff painted. I'm going to do Red Scorpions, so I need to get those painted. So I think once I've got a bit of time after the weekend, some Red Scorpions for me. But yeah, that's my next project, which I'll probably get sidetracked on and not do it.
Is there anything else you would like to plug, or for people that don't follow you, do you have any other channels apart from Jonnyispainting?
No, I'm just Jonnyispainting. Yeah, I'd love people to follow me, but also just, they don't have to. It's a free country. I think I love, just thank you to you guys. I think the thing that I value the most is talking to people about it. Because I think it's really cool to have people in like online spaces and stuff, but to actually just like chat about this thing that we love is just nice. So just thanks to you guys for having us and just to having this space. I really appreciate it. And I hope I didn't ramble on too long about why Garviel Loken is the best.
Wait, he's not so targets, but we'll just call it. No, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We always enjoy a very chatty guest because it makes our job easier, even though we don't get paid for this. It makes us a lot easier. But I'm sure we'd love to have you back on if we're still doing this. We'd love to have you back on at some point. Maybe.
Anytime, lads. I'm more than happy to do it, and we can talk more about missing Primarchs.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you up on that.
On miniature painting, you're absolutely fine, but don't be stressing. If you want to come on, drop us a DM and we'll chat to you. And this is basically what we do: is we just have a guest on every Wednesday, and we just ask them about their hobby journey and why they like plastic crack.
Yeah. Next time I'll tell you how badly I got beaten by Bravo tomorrow.
I think it appears to be that Thursday as the day for games, which is I'm playing tomorrow, Casey's playing tomorrow, and you're playing tomorrow. So it could probably be 3 defeats for us all tomorrow.
It'll be a dishonourable hat trick, but we'll see.
I'll tell you what. I'll leave you with this. I think this will be my final thing to say today. Right. I said this last night. I've said it to Dunk. I've played 3 games of Warhammer and 3 tabletop games in general this month. I've lost 2 games of 40k, and at Warhammer World on the weekend, I lost a game of what they called giant football to my son, who was 6 at the time and is now 7. The game was, you move your giant, you roll a dice. Does it kick a ball? Yes. Does it go there, there, or there? Yes or no? And he beat me in 2 turns.
When I played Kill Team with my girlfriend, she rolled so many 6s. I wasn't even trying to let her win because I wanted to win, and she was a six rolling machine. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and they give it to you, don't they? They're like, I thought this was your thing. I thought you were good at this. It's like,
Well, when I killed one of her Ultramarines, she was like, "What?" I was like, "You did that to me." But it's different, apparently.
yes, it would.
Right, folks, that's us for another week. I'm not too sure what guest we've got on next week, because I've forgotten who it is. But we'll definitely be throwing it up in the chat anyway towards the end of the week. If you don't already, please follow Jonnyispainting, and we can all watch him, Johnny be painting, and Johnny be rolling tomorrow. Folks, have a lovely rest of your evening. Any final last words from you, Casey?
No, Martin, I'm not going to be about this weekend, I'm afraid, buddy, for MCP. I will have to give you a shout about when we can do it. And I need to get you on here, buddy. You need to sort that out. I'll chat to you soon about it.
Right, folks, have a good rest of your Wednesday. Love you all, even you, Casey. Love you, bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.